Let's not sugarcoat it. Hermes is in hot water. For decades, the brand built its empire on one promise: unmatched French craftsmanship. And at the heart of it all, the Birkin bag, a status symbol so powerful that it didn't just cost tens of thousands.
It starts with 30 distinct cuts of leather and can take 20 hours to complete, 4 hours for just the handle. Put the finishing touches on a Kelly, the most difficult bag to build. Artisans rely on their training and muscle memory to make every bag.
You can continue to expose all of these retailers. Nobody's going to care.
I am about to crash.
Y'all would never catch me in nothing fake. No fake earrings, no fake bracelets, no fake shoes, nothing fake designer. It's gonna be a no for me.
Out.
It demanded wait lists, whispered referrals, and loyalty purchases just to get on the list. The bag's namesake, Jane Birkin, wasn't just a fashion icon, she was a cultural muse. And now her daughter, Lou Doillon, is allegedly stepping into the spotlight. Not to model, not to sing.
This is why this bag from our factory only costs you 1,000 USD.
Have you all seen that TikTok by the Chinese guy exposing how luxury goods are actually made? The only real difference? China ships the products to Europe, slaps on a made in France or made in Italy label, and boom, luxury? It's ridiculous.
These are pieces of artwork. These artisans train years and years to make one of these bags.
Fabrice is doing the last stitching on a Kelly bag. A Kelly takes around 13 hours to be made, depending on the materials that we make it. Our artisans, they need to do 4 years of training to be able to manufacture a Kelly bag.
Hermes says, made in China, does it feel cheaper? No, that's not a quality issue. It's luxury brand washing.
Hermes, you guys, it's time to show off your factories. No, I don't want to wait to go on YouTube and watch a beautiful documentary on. Show them off right here on TikTok. Let the world see. Okay, get like China. You gotta be ghetto about it. Just let people know.
But to speak out, because something's changed. Footage, documents, and insider testimony are now surfacing online, claiming the truth behind the Birkin isn't so elegant. Allegedly, many of these bags are being cranked out in Chinese factories, far from the artisanal French ateliers consumers were promised.
I can't believe I'm actually sitting down to have to film this video. It's actually just ridiculous that it is only laughable. I have to tell you what's happened. Seriously, I have to tell you what's happened, and it is, like I said, it is just mind-blowing, and it is kind of just laughable really now. But let me just, this is also not a video me telling anyone not to shop at Hermes, to boycott the brand. I'm not saying that. I'm not here to really tell people what to do.
And here's where it gets personal. Lou Doillon, fiercely protective of her mother's name, is reportedly working behind the scenes with the very whistleblower Hermes tried to silence. She's demanding answers, transparency. And if these claims are true, she may be leading the charge to expose one of fashion's biggest deceptions ever.
I had a lot of requests, do Hermes next. And that's why we're here in the Highland Park Mall.
Italy, made in China. Or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way. I have spent over $100,000 of my own money dissecting luxury bags, cutting them open, analyzing every stitch, every layer. Why? Because I had to know what made those bags so expensive.
It requires a lot of skill to turn it and get it on the right way.
Il y a des bouchées, des bacs plus 4, 5, 6, on en a.
The floodgates opened when one anonymous former supply chain manager, now known only as the Whistleblower, dropped a data bomb the industry wasn't ready for. Over 140 pages of documentation, internal memos, video clips, factory invoices, time-stamped footage from inside Shenzhen manufacturing plants.
And then I got up the courage. I felt intimidated that I just felt scared of going. And then one day, well, not really one day, I gave birth to my daughter at the end of 2016. And then a few months into 2017, I was like, you know what? Surely I can get enough courage up to go into the local Hermes store. Actually, it brings, how stupid is this? I feel like I want to cry. I was part, you know, I was appreciated by the house, you know, that I was appreciated by that store. That's how she made me feel. She passed me on to someone else who was really great as well. She was a lovely lady, but you know, it all started with her making me feel comfortable to go into the store. Let me just say, I've had another child since that, and didn't have postnatal depression again. I've overcome that and I feel very proud.
And it all told the same story. That luxurious Birkin bag, the one sold for $30,000 or more, it allegedly costs Hermes as little as $700 to produce. In China, even worse. Some of the footage shows rows of completed bags stacked in orange Hermes boxes, ready to ship out with just a few finishing touches left to be made.
I need you people to wake up and critically think and stop believing this shit that you see on TikTok, okay?
You mean to tell me you believe that this man is making your Birkins in China? If he's a Birkin artisan, then I'm an astronaut.
Those final tweaks, according to the whistleblower, they're done in France just long enough to slap on a Made in France label and justify the price tag. This wasn't a rumor. It came with receipts. Excel files showed detailed cost breakdowns, material costs, labor per unit, shipping timelines.
None of the brands these creators mention, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Chanel, especially Hermes, need to go to China for production. And here is why. Labels like Made in France and Made in Italy comes with strict restrictions. And brands at that level don't risk compromising that. It's just not worth it.
Internal communication threads allegedly showed Hermes execs coordinating influencer posts to coincide with peak speculation moments. And the biggest gut punch? The whistleblower says this system's been running quietly for years. Only now, with growing demand, manufacturing strain, and digital receipts piling up, has the illusion started to crumble. Because for a brand that built itself on scarcity, secrecy, and heritage, transparency might be its biggest threat yet. This just got personal. Lou Doyon, the daughter of Jane Birkin, has allegedly stepped off the runway and into the front lines of a legacy war. She isn't just a celebrity name riding on vintage cool. Lou is an artist, a thinker, and someone deeply protective of her mother's reputation. And now? She's reportedly furious. Sources close to the situation claim Lou has been quietly digging into the whistleblower's materials for weeks. Not for clout, not for headlines, but to verify. Every line item, every invoice, every stitch. Because if even half of these allegations are true, that means the very bag named after her mother, the bag that changed luxury fashion forever, was being used as a pawn in one of the biggest branding cons of the decade. According to insiders, Lou has allegedly reached out directly to the whistleblower, not just to talk, but to collaborate, to trace batch numbers, to verify locations, to fact-check claims, and to ensure the name Birkin doesn't become shorthand for fake luxury. She's not doing press. She's not doing interviews. She's doing what her mother always did, using her voice when it matters most. And if Lou publicly confirms that she believes Hermes misled the world, the fallout won't just hit Hermes. It'll ripple across every luxury house that built its value on illusion. Let's break down the biggest branding scam the fashion industry doesn't want you to understand. How is Hermes allegedly getting away with stamping Made in France on bags secretly built in China? 2 words: legal loopholes. According to documents dropped by the whistleblower, Hermes reportedly takes advantage of a shady but legal rule. One that says a product can be labeled Made in France if the final step of the assembly happens there. It doesn't matter where 90% of the work took place, as long as that final buckle is stitched on in a French atelier. Voila, French luxury, baby. But here's what the whistleblower exposed. Batches of pre-cut leather, pre-sewn linings, hardware, and even stitched pockets are allegedly shipped from Chinese factories directly to small French workshops. Workers in France don't build the bags from scratch. They just attach a strap, maybe stitch on the logo, tuck in a tag, and box it up. Done. One internal doc allegedly lays it out step by step. Final fold plus stamp, eligible for French origin classification. That's not heritage, that's a hustle. Even worse, some of these ateliers are allegedly tiny shell operations, contractors with no actual Hermes branding, just French mailing addresses used to protect the narrative. Insiders have started calling it legal branding. The idea that you can manufacture a story, not just a product, and legally sell both for profit, but to the public, to the collectors who dropped $30K on a handmade French icon, it feels like something else. Straight up. Fraud, wrapped in a silk scarf and tied with a croc skin bow. Buckle up. This is where it goes from corporate scandal to full-blown Hollywood conspiracy. In the newest leak, the whistleblower didn't just expose supply chain secrets, she allegedly dropped a coded ledger, a digital spreadsheet filled with cryptic entries that look a whole lot like celebrity partnerships, not public campaigns, not influencer deals with disclosure. These were off-the-books relationship activations, the kind that allegedly only go down behind PR doors, buried under confidentiality clauses, and the internet already cracking the code. According to fan sleuths on Reddit and TikTok, initials like KR, BH, and MS are being linked to major names. KR could be Kendall Jenner or even Chris. Both are known Birkin collectors with suspiciously well-timed posts. BoH, all signs point to Bella Hadid, who once posted 5 Hermes bags in one carousel the same week whispers of the factory scandal first surfaced. MS, believed to be Meghan Markle's stylist, who allegedly orchestrated subtle bag placements on high-profile outings. Each line in the doc reportedly includes dates that line up with luxury exposés or business dips. Bag types sent out: Shiny Croc 35, Rose Confetti 25, etc. Strategy notes like Stage 2 recovery push, offset TikTok backlash, or pre-IPO drip. Let that sink in. These weren't organic flexes. They were crisis response posts designed to drown out scandal with sparkle. Even wilder, a few entries allegedly reference non-disclosure alignment approved and verbal opt-in only. Translation: no paper trail, no accountability, just lux damage control by designer mail. If these connections get verified, we're not just talking about influencer drama, we're talking about a luxury-level PR manipulation machine, roping in A-listers to protect a billion-dollar myth. The same way Fire Festival roped in models to sell empty villas, Hermes may have allegedly enlisted celebs to sell made-in-France dreams built on overseas labor. This ledger might be the match, and the internet is the gasoline. You'd think billionaire bag collectors wouldn't blink. But when the Hermes fantasy starts to unravel, even the wealthiest start to sweat. Across private discords, elite WhatsApp chats, and collector subreddits, panic is spreading like wildfire. And we're not talking about casual shoppers here. We're talking serious investors. People who've spent 6 figures on rare colorway Birkins and limited edition Kellys, now scrambling to verify if their prized possessions are even authentic in the way Hermes claimed. Because if these bags weren't actually handcrafted in France like promised, that's not just a PR scandal. That's an investment catastrophe. Leaked messages and collector forum posts are flooded with raw questions. I paid $180K for a Himalayan croc. If it was stitched in Shenzhen and not Paris, am I holding a fake? If the Made in France stamp was technically a legal loophole, does that make it consumer fraud? Should we start a lawsuit? How do we prove where our bags came from? Should I dump my inventory before this whole market collapses? And they're not wrong to worry. Word on the street is that resale platforms are already adjusting algorithms, with major authentication teams reviewing past certifications. Several high-profile sellers have allegedly started slashing prices quietly, trying to offload before the market free falls. In one VIP consignment group, a reseller reportedly dropped 10 Birkins overnight, bags they had held for years because the brand narrative risk was now too high. Translation: once the myth of the artisan atelier dies, so does the value. Because that's the ugly truth Hermes never wanted to face. Luxury pricing is all perception. No one's paying $30,000 for a handbag because the leather is nice. They're paying for the story. The fantasy, the promise of something rare, elite, untouched by the mass production machine. But now, that promise might be broken, and all that's left is a very expensive handbag, sewn with secrets. The alleged revelation that Hermes Birkins, those sacred symbols of luxury, status, and old money elegance, may have been mass-produced in Chinese factories is more than just a scandal. It's a direct hit to the foundation of a brand that built its empire on craftsmanship, exclusivity, and the myth of French perfection. And now, that myth is unraveling, thread by thread. For decades, owning a Birkin wasn't just about carrying a bag. It was about carrying a legacy, a promise, an identity, and no one understood that more than Jane Birkin herself, whose name became synonymous with one of the most coveted fashion items in history. So when her daughter, Lou Doillon, steps forward, allegedly aligning with whistleblowers and demanding accountability, it doesn't just feel personal, it is personal. This isn't just about luxury anymore. It's about truth, about honoring heritage, about refusing to let a legendary name be used to cover up corporate deception. Because at the end of the day, no amount of leather, gold hardware, or exclusivity lists can patch over dishonesty. And if Hermes and every other luxury house watching thinks, the world won't notice. Think again. Consumers are more educated, more vocal, and more powerful than ever. And in an era where one leaked screenshot or one insider video can bring down giants, the message is crystal clear. Protect your legacy with truth or watch it vanish in scandal.